Hello Adam, this is Zoltan here from OrthoGraph. Thanks for joining into this session.
Hello Zoltan. Thanks for having this demo.
No problem. Adam, what I had in mind for this short meeting is I'm going to show you how the application works and how it could make your work easier and faster. But before we begin, can you tell me a couple of words about what you are doing? And what I'm interested in is what you are looking for to get from this application.
All right, so I work as a contractor basically, and my job involves creating on-site surveys. So I would go to a location and use a laser distance meter and some pen and paper to lay out a floor plan and then input that data into CAD, basically.
So you said you are doing it on pen and paper?
Yes, right now that's what I'm using.
Have you ever made any serious measurement mistakes? It's okay if you did.
Well, I think everybody's made those sorts of mistakes once in a while.
Now, that's actually the point of our application, is that it can filter out, it cannot eliminate user errors, but it can minimize it by showing you the measurements, what you have done, and also keeping track of the things what you have done. I'll show you how it works. Let me know if you want to go into details. Now,
all right. Hold on.
Yes?
We were breaking up there for a moment. Is it all right now?
It is.
Right.
It is good now. Now, the way the application works is that as opposed to drawing the whole location and then drawing the room separately, you are going to start with the first room what you see on the building site, and then you work your way around it. So what you do is that you just walk into the flat or apartment or office what you want to measure, and then you just draw the first thing what you see. Okay, so you draw the first room that you want to measure, just like this. And you see that now the drawing is instantly having 90-degree angles and straight walls. That's usually not the case when you are doing an actual building survey, but you are going to get the tiny details later as you go.
Right.
Now, here's what you do. You start measuring the building wall by wall. Highlight the first wall that you want to measure and punch in the numbers. There you go. The whole drawing is proportionately scaled.
Okay.
Additional measurements are going to modify the wall that you are measuring. So if you say that this is only 2 meters, then you see that the ending point comes closer. And similarly, if you make another measurement here to 3 meters, the ending point is pushed away.
All right, so can I do this with a distance meter?
Yes, sure you can. If you have a support laser distance meter, you can check our website to see which models are supported. Then all you have to do is that you just have to turn on this device. In this case, this is a Leica Disto D2 Bluetooth enabled distance meter, and you just go to your menu to hook it up to your program. So if I just tap on it, it attaches, and now it's ready to go. So here's what I do. I highlight the wall that you want to measure, and now instead of just punching in the numbers, I can just push the laser against the wall and shine the laser dot to the other side of the office. Now, once I push the button, I see that the number is already on the screen.
Yeah, I see.
There's another thing what we decided to develop with this connectivity, because our software is able to measure diagonals, but here's the problem. When you are shooting diagonals, sometimes you have a hard time to aim the laser, push the button, and have accurate data at the same time. So if you keep on pushing the buttons on your laser, then sometimes the laser dot moves, so you're not.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I think that happens more often than it should. So what we decided to do instead is that we are allowing the users to make measurements by remotely controlling the laser. So what happens here is that now all I have to do, I just have to hold the laser in my hand and just tap on the tablet screen when I'm ready to do the measurement. Since I'm not pushing the physical button on the screen, the measurement is not going to be compromised.
I see.
Again, this is just an option what you can use. It's not compulsory to use the laser like that. But if you are doing a diagonal on a large scale in a large distance, then that's the only way you can make sure that your measurement is not going to be messed up.
Right.
Now, we have made the measurements and we did the diagonal, but the next logical step would be to enter a door or a window, because sometimes you have to get from one room to the other. So Here's what you do. You go to your opening library and you just tap on the wall where you want the door to appear and swipe your finger to the opening direction. And there you go, you have a door there. But that's, this door
That's nice.
It is, it's very easy. You just tap on it and you just swipe your finger to the opening direction. But if you made a mistake, that's all right, because you can change the direction later on as you go. So you can change that inside or outside any way you want.
Yeah.
Now, this is not a fully measured door yet. So what you have to do is that you just have to tap on the measurement tool and you have to designate how far this door is from the corner. So just like that. An extra measurement across would get you the width of the door. But let's just go back one a sec, because now you can not only measure the width, but also the height and the threshold height of the door.
So what do those things affect in this drawing?
So can you just repeat the question again?
So what do those fields affect here?
I'll show you that in the case of a window, because that's a little bit more, it's more visible. So if I have a window over there, then I can not only measure the width, but also the height and the seal height. Now, this is going to directly affect the 3D model. So if I decrease if I change the seal height to anything else, let's say 1.3, and if I go to our 3D view, then I can see that everything what I do is going to modify the 3D model's looks. So that looks nice there. If you are going to export this drawing into another, let me just go in another direction so you can see better. So you see I lifted the window upwards a little bit. So what happens here is that this is going to be a hole in the wall which is going to carry over to any kind of export format. So if you are looking for a CAD format as an export format from this drawing, then
yes, I mainly use DWG here.
Oh, we support DXF, but that can be also read into most DWG compatible software such as AutoCAD, Revit, or ArchiCAD, so all these kind of things. So what you are going to get if you export this drawing into DXF is that you are going to have this opening stamp which would tell you more about the seal height. There you go, you see it at the bottom, the seal height.
Yeah.
Now, let's carry on with the wall width, because that's something what we haven't covered yet. So if I highlight this wall, you have seen that you can designate the length of this wall, but also you are able to access the height and the thickness height of these walls.
Right.
So again, this is just three-dimensional data. So everything you do is going to have relevant outcome in 3D. But let's go one step further than that. If you just tap on the wall itself, you can open up a so-called property sheet where you can designate extra things regarding this wall. So you can not only measure the height and the length, height and the thickness of the walls here, but you can also add extra data fields here, which would be able to store extra information bits that you're looking for. So for instance, if you want to designate the installation type or the year when this part of the building was built, you just have to tap on plus, choose what kind of extra property you need here. Let's say you need a length value, because you want to designate the installation thickness. Then you just type in the name of the property that you want to record and hit next. You can decide if you want to have this property for just this very object or for all the walls. Let's say I want to have it for all my walls, so that way I don't have to do it over and over again. And here you go, you have an extra data field in which you can...
And now all the walls would have this installation field.
That's right. So if I highlighted this wall before, but if I go to another one, let's say this one, then I see the same data field over there. So this field stays the same. This one is going to be modified on a wall-to-wall basis.
All right.
Now, usually you would measure more than one rooms, right? So you need to have more.
Yeah.
Now, there are many ways to add another room. I'm going to show you all the workflow what we support here. So the most straightforward way to proceed is to just sketch the next component, next room close to the first one. And you see it attaches itself automatically. And then all you need to do is just walk through this door and measure back from the door frame. You know, because the door frame is your only reference point what you can work with. Now, that's one way to do things, but this only works if you know how the rooms are related to each other in the physical space. If you don't know where the rooms are in relation to each other, you can sketch the rooms separately and you can merge them by openings. Especially if you, I don't know how often do you measure older buildings where the walls are irregular or crooked or...
Well, I think every building has crooked walls, so it happens all the time.
They are all irregular. So here's what happens. You sketch the next room separately. You measure the room just the way you did in the beginning. So let's say this is 5 meters. It's not really relevant. Now, then what you do is that you copy this door to the next drawing, and you measure where this door is in the drawing.
How did you copy the door?
I just tapped on the door. And every element here has a copy command, which means that if you have more doors or windows of the same kind in your drawing, you don't have to measure all of them. You just have to tap on the copy element and just tap on the door where you want the next one to appear.
All right, I see.
Now you have two locations having the same door. This door is not measured yet, but I'm going to amend that right now. So now it's measured. And all I have to do, I just have to move the two locations close to each other, and you see that the software snaps them together.
Yeah.
Now this is a very good workflow if you don't really know where one room ends and the other one begins. So that could be your most reliable tool in this kind of situation. Now, there's no, like I said, there's no limit on how many rooms you can have. So you can have as many as you want. And that's usually what you would do if you have cupboards or wardrobes or any other elements of the house or the flat. You just have to have them drawn as separate locations. Now, every location here has a property sheet where you can designate extra data fields, such as, just like I showed you before with the installation. But now you can not only modify the height of the ceiling or the suspended ceiling, but you can also add properties on a room-to-room basis.
Right.
Also, this might be relevant because before you leave the site, you can just hit on report, and that would get you more information on surface values and also perimeters and areas of the location. So if you're just looking for a very fast sketch and you are not looking for CAD output just to have the numbers, then that's a very good tool for that.
All right.
Now, another thing, I'm not sure, do you ever need to record the furniture and structural elements on the scenes when you are measuring them?
Oh, not usually, but sometimes it comes in handy.
Such as staircases, for instance?
Staircases, some more sort of things like, I don't know, the office, kitchen, the elements of that thing, that sort of thing, or sometimes a big table.
That's all right, we got that covered. So here's what happens. We have an opening library. I mean, not an opening, an object library, where you can browse from our library of different furniture pieces, structural elements, but we have them listed here. So you can just add another pillar or staircase or fireplace or even a ramp to your drawing. Let's start with this column here. So I'm just going to place it. Oh, sorry, I wanted to place it, but instead I just highlighted something else.
That's fine.
Okay, so I placed this column now.
Right.
And what I can do with it is I can move it somewhere else. I can copy it the way I did before. And also I can resize it. So if you know exactly what the dimensions of these elements are, you can resize them. The great thing about this is that you can sort of customize them to resemble the things what you are actually measuring. And don't forget that everything you do has a result in our 3D view. So again, this 3D view is not to create a virtual environment. That's not its purpose. The purpose of this 3D view is that you can take a look around and see if there's anything missing, if you haven't designated a sill height, or there's anything what is missing. And that's one of that's your first line defense against losing data on the field, because the software shows you what you have already sketched, so you are not going to lose any other data, any other important things. The other feature the software has against data loss and forgetting about important measurements is that every time you do a measurement and you have something fixed, you get a check mark. This check mark in this Windows case means that this window has been measured from this corner point, but you haven't measured it across. So that sort of shows you that these are the things what you still have to do. Nothing is compulsory in the software. Sorry?
I see.
So nothing is compulsory to measure in the software, but by measuring everything, then you can get the desired data. See?
Yeah.
Now, once you're done with your measurement, here's what you do. And this is the only thing what requires you to be online. You can export this drawing into several export formats. I'll show you them in a second. But the important point is that you can be in the middle of nowhere doing surveys. Everything what I showed you here up until to this point works offline. So there's no internet connection needed.
Well, I mean, you need it to sign in.
The first time when you do, when you downloaded the application and you signed in, that's when it requires you to be online. But when you take the software to the field, it might ask for a username or password, but that's something that you can do, that you can submit even when it's offline.
All right.
Now, here's what you do. You just go to your menu and you just hit export. And here you have 5 different export formats. The first one is pretty much straightforward. That's just an image. So whatever you have sketched so far is going to be captured into a 2-dimensional image. The next one is a PDF, which is a little bit similar to the image because it's going to give you a floor plan plus all the estimations what I showed you before. So all the estimations on the areas and perimeters and wall areas with or without openings, they will be there too. Now, Excel just gets you this XLSX is actually an Excel spreadsheet, which tells you more about surface values and objects and wall pieces. But here's where it becomes more interesting. We have IFC and DXF, and these 2 file formats can be read into most CAD software out there.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to choose DXF on a separate layer outlay, and I'm going to email this to my computer. And then I'm going to open it up on my AutoCAD to show you what you can expect when you email a project away. Let's just send this, and then just wait for it to arrive to my inbox so I can show you how it works. Okay, here we go. I'm just opening it now, and we'll see how it works in this kind of environment.
So you're using AutoCAD?
Yes, that's right, the plain one. There's the architectural one out there, but I'm using the plain AutoCAD, which is what most of our users are using. So it's a very good integration, because then you are not only going to see the drawing, but you can also see all the tiny details what you recorded. And we are live with this. So what I'm going to show you now is that here's how the drawing imports. If you remember, these are the 3 rooms what we sketched.
Yeah.
And let's zoom in so we can see the details better. So what I told you about the openings before, you can see it here. So all the sill height data, the width and the height of this window is going to be captured here. Same story with the doors. You see the opening direction. You see that everything is a block here. So you can you can just delete them and replace them with your own blocks if you need it, but that's not compulsory. Also, you see that everything here is stored on different layers, so OrthoGraph is able to capture everything into different layer outlays, so you can just disable the things that you don't need, modify them at will. Now, every room has this kind of room label, which is going to hold the data what you put in. The room's name, the 2 biggest measurements within the room, the area, and the room's height. So although this is going to be a 2D DXF drawing, like the way I'm showing now, so this is a 2D drawing, you are going to see the most relevant 3D data on your drawing. Now, you see that the object what we put down is also here. So everything what you recorded is on this drawing. So is the customized wall thickness. So if you want to do anything with this drawing, you have to export it to smaller parts, because this wall, for instance, is 1 block. So you can use it as 1 block. So that's what you can expect if you export the drawing into an OrthoGraph export format.
All right.
Now, the other export formats I wanted to tell you about, is for instance the Excel sheet, which I can show you here. That's what you see in an Excel format. You would see the rooms 1 by 1. Listed with their most basic data, such as perimeters and gross and net areas, and all the numbers which would be too space consuming to put down on a PDF format, they would be here. So if you are very good with Excel macros, I'm not that good with them myself, but if you know how to do calculations with Excel, then you can just get the most relevant numbers regarding walls, add them up or subtract, or you know how much insulation you need or how much of the wall needs to be repainted.
Well, I'm not the greatest at it, but I know a guy.
Good. That's always the key, to know somebody who can do these kind of things. Regarding the program's main features, that's what I wanted to show you. Is there anything what you think you would be needing on the scene, but I haven't showed you before?
Well, I'm not sure. Is there a way to record like specific details, like take pictures and put them on the, I don't know, parts of the floor plan?
That's right. That is possible. So you can you can take pictures on an object by object basis. So the same way I showed you with the properties, what we recorded, you can put elements and images to doors and windows and all the similar elements. So you can just open up the properties. Okay. Let's do it with the room then. So I'm just opening up the properties, and here if you tap on plus, you can choose a picture format. Just tap on the camera and that would give you access to your camera, and you just have to snap an image of anything you want. So I just snapped an image of my lunchbox, and then I just hit use photo, and then this photo would be there assigned to this very segment. So this object would store this image.
That looked good.
So instead of sifting through all the images what you took on the field, you can just choose the one what is belonging to that particular element. These images would be saved into a PDF export format.
All right.
Great. Adam, thank you very much for joining into this session. After this session, I'm going to send you some tutorial videos, and also this video, what we did is being recorded. You are going to get this video as a part of your tutorial training package.
All right.
Should you have any issues, we do have a dedicated YouTube channel where we have a lot of videos on separate features and functions of the software, but also you can reach out to us at the support@orthograph.net email address.
Okay.
And that would be
right.
that would help you with the first couple of steps. Have fun with using the application, and wish you many successful and effective surveys.
Thank you very much, Zoltán.
Thanks, Adam. Bye.
Bye.